Okay, the next thing we're going to add into our game is shooting. So we're going to add in some lasers. Add in this one by dragging it in, and this yellow one by dragging it in. I'm going to just drag in sounds while I'm at it as well. So I'm going to drag some sounds into that folder as well. So we've got sounds, we've got graphics, all good. I may actually add in an animation as well. Maybe not. We'll come back to that later. Okay, so we've got the two guys in. We've got graphics of the bullets. Let's add these in. Remember to set the layer so that it's in front. Maybe make it 3 or at least 2. Probably 2 would be fine. Maybe even 1 so that it's behind the gun. I'd actually say 1 probably. If you set the gun at 2, I would make this 1. So it's in front of the background, but it's behind the gun, you see. Probably too big. I would resize that thing. So you want to make it kind of look like it could maybe come out of that laser gun. And the same goes with this one. Okay. Now what we're going to do to these is make them shoot. We're just going to make them shoot once themselves, and then we're going to be able to do that repeatedly. This is where physics comes in. So we're going to go to add component, and we're going to add physics 2D because we're doing a 2D game, and we're going to add what's called a rigid body. Now if I just play that without changing any settings, watch what happens to the bullet, right? Because gravity has taken effect. Now for this one we don't want quite so much gravity, so let's reduce the gravity scale over on the right here to 0.25. Okay, and maybe you should put in the auto mass. It's not dead important to do. I'm going to leave it off. You can sometimes use the auto mass, which means the bigger the object, the more weight it has. Gravity will affect it more as the weight is bigger. Or will it? That's a question. That's another discussion on physics. I'm just going to leave, this time I'm going to leave auto mass off, so they're both mass 1. I'm going to make them roughly look the same size as well. Okay, and if I run that now, it still drops, but not as much. We are going to be doing collisions with this, so you may want to, and it is quite important these ones work. I'm going to leave it on discrete now, but if you do find the collisions aren't working right, you can change discrete from discrete to continuous, which does check it, makes it the collision detection better, but I actually think discrete will be fine. You can read up a bit more of these things online to see whether you think discrete or continuous is better, but continuous basically is a higher CPU intensive way of checking. Okay, so once we've got this in, I'm going to click on that, and we are going to add a script to it. So I'm going to go to add component, take a new script, and I'm going to call it fire me. Okay, it doesn't really matter what we write it. I'm going to do it like that. If you go to assets, you'll find that it's there. Drag it into scripts, and then open up fire me. Okay, so fire me is there. Let's double click and edit that. Okay, so I'm going to do some code here. Now, again, I'm going to make quite a few things public so that we can just change them quickly in Unity. I'm going to make a public float. If you don't know what a float is, it's a number that has decimal places, so it's not a whole number, although it could be a whole number, I guess, but it could be like 1.5, 1.25, etc. But anyway, I'm going to set the power to 100, which is basically the power of that bullet when it leaves the gun. Okay, the fastest a bullet ever goes when it leaves the gun. It never speeds up. So that is going to be the force it is ejected from the gun at. We're going to set what's called a rigid body, which is the physics, because we're going to need to do stuff to that. And we're going to get the camera, or are we? In fact, we're not going to bother with the camera. What we're going to do instead is use a timer. I'm going to set it to 2000. Or am I? Well, I'm going to do a timer. I'm going to set it to 2 right now. What we're going to use the timer for is we're going to use the timer to decide when the bullet is completed. So I'm going to set it to 3F actually, which is 3 seconds. It's going to be 3 seconds. And we're going to use that, so after 3 seconds it's going to be destroyed. Okay, so I'm going to do a wee bit more to this. Okay, so in the start method, because this is where we're going to fire it, because it's when the bullet spawns, we want to shoot it. So we're going to get component, and we are going to get the rigid body that is on that object. In this case, the laser bullet. We're going to add a force to it. And this is basically a directional vector, okay? So vector 3, 1, 0, 0 is basically x1, y0, z0, which is basically to the right if you think about it. If you think about the way that vector is, x equals 1 is 1 to the right. We're going to multiply that by the power. So instead of moving 1 to the right, it's moving 100 to the right. And that should fire it. So if we save that script, go back into Unity and hit play, you should find that the bullet shoots. Now it doesn't shoot very fast. So in that case, click on the bullet and overwrite the value in here. Let's make it 500. Try again. There we go, that's a bit better. It's really up to you what you want to make it. If you really want to make it fast, make it 1000. There you go. Right. Other thing to do is make sure you do add a collider to the bullet. I meant to do that, but I forgot. So let's add a collider to it. Go into Physics 2D, and I think a capsule collider would probably fit this best. If you look in there, you can adjust these colliders, by the way. So once you've done it, you can go down and you can edit the collider over here to the right. You see this capsule collider 2D edit collider, and we can actually adjust it a bit to fit better. Like so, notice that it's a bit footery. Edit collider. I changed the direction to horizontal there, which lets me do this. Okay. So capsule is a good fit for that. Let's do one to the yellow one as well. Let's add, oh, we haven't even done physics in this one, so let's add physics to the other one as well. Rigid body. Make the gravity 0.25. Let's add a collider. Physics to be capsule collider. Let's set it to horizontal, so it's left and right, so up and down. Let's edit that collider and pull it by the little green dots. It's the little green dots that you do it to adjust it. Okay, and if you run that now, you notice that it kind of worked. So as we run that, the bullet shoots and it hits him. Okay. Now, the cool thing is we can already add that same script to the yellow bullet, so let's do that. Let's go to scripts and fire me, and let's set the power to -1000 instead of 1000 so it shoots in the other direction. And let's try that. There we go. So the two bullets are hitting off each other. That's quite cool. I like that a lot. Okay, but let's do a few other things. Let's change it so that when the timer runs out, um, it is destroyed. So first of all, if we say timer minus equals time delta time, no brackets. Okay, so if you hover over that, the time in seconds it took to complete the last frame. So basically that is the time between each loop. If you subtract the time between each loop from the time, it gives you a timer, so that will be counted down. And then we can say if timer is less than 0, we can destroy it. You can say this dot game object if you like, or just say game object. Okay, and if we save that, and if we run it. Now, if you look over here, you'll notice, yeah, you see there, watch that again. You notice that the blue and the yellow shot are on the hierarchy view here. If I hit play, watch what happens after 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. It disappears, okay? So in most cases, 3 seconds is long enough. It happened that the way it spins there, it actually is on screen for longer than that. You could make it longer if you want. For most cases, 3 seconds would be long enough. There is other ways to do it. The other way to handle this is to actually put in if statements like we did for the guys to limit them to the screen. And when it goes out the screen, then destroy it. That's the other way to do it. The reason you need to destroy it is because if you've got like 50 bullets in the scene, it will start to slow down if each of them are shooting that. So you do need to destroy the objects. Okay. And that's about that for that script. Now this is where it gets quite cool. What we're going to do is make something called a prefab. So we are going to make a folder called prefabs. And we are going to take these 2 bullets and we're going to drag them from here into the prefab folder. Okay, so drag the blue one on its own. Doesn't like it at first. Drag the yellow one. And that just makes a kind of template of those things just by dragging it from here down to here. It's not really because I've called it prefabs, it's just because I've dragged it from here to here. And this has the rigid body, it has the castle, it has fire meat, and we can now use them. Okay, so we're going to add in a little bit of code into the move characters one. Okay, now notice I haven't completed the limits to the character, but you could do that. So we're going to just do a couple things at the top. We're going to add in a public transform, which is basically an object. And we are going to add in public int max bullets because I want to limit the number of bullets on screen at a time. I'm going to set it 3. And we're going to do something called an offset. Now the reason I do that is so that when you shoot the bullet it doesn't bash off itself and give you a kickback. If you don't have that, it might still work, but you'll have a kind of kickback when you shoot the gun, which we probably don't want in the game. So we're really going to try and shoot the bullet from the end of the gun so it doesn't actually touch itself. Okay, and in here we're going to basically say if you hit the shoot key. Now if you haven't got a shoot key, go up now and define one. Get key down shoot key. Okay, and this is where we're going to do a little trick. We're going to say game object find game object with objects with tag, and we're going to look for the tag that's on the bullet. Now we haven't actually set that tag, so we will need to do that and say length. What that does is it finds any object in the scene with a tag that matches the one on the bullet. So basically, because we're going to be making copies of the bullet to shoot them, every bullet will have that tag on it, and we can count them. Tags are different to names, whereas names can only be used once. Multiple objects can have the same tag. Okay, now we're going to spawn it. So we're going to say bullet, this object that we want to spawn. We're going to say where we want to spawn it from, and where we want to spawn it from is the position of the object that we're firing it from, which is position X, because we're on the character. We're going to add to that the offset so that it doesn't fire immediately from the middle of them. We're going to use the Y as well, and we can set Z as 0. And this last bit is rotation, but we are just going to leave it as is. Just that, it just leaves it as a default, which is what we want to do. Okay, now we do need to make sure we set a tag before we do this, because we're using that, and that should work. So let's save that. Let's go on to this guy here. If you look down, before we do that, go to the blue bullet down in the prefabs. Go up to the very top where it says tag. Go to add tag. Hit the plus here and type in blue laser. Okay, click back on it and select blue laser. Click on the yellow laser. Go up to add tag. Hit the plus and do yellow laser. Click on this, click on tags, set the tag to yellow. So that's tagged as blue, that's tagged as yellow. If we click on our guy now and go down to his script, you'll notice that he's got bullet none. Drag the bullet from the prefabs into there. Okay, you can do the same on this guy, you can drag the yellow one in. Okay. Now on this guy, if we define a shoot key, I'm just going to make it space, I think. Okay. And this one I'm going to make, I don't know, right shift. Is it a right shift? There it is, right shift. Okay. I feel like I've forgotten something, but maybe not. So let's try it. Okay, so the first bullet fires because it's still there. And there we go. Right, we've got, you notice we get 3 bullets, but once the 3 finish shooting, we can't shoot anymore because we're waiting for them to be destroyed before we can shoot them again. Okay. Let's try that again. Now, I think you'll find that that is hitting him because he's getting some kind of kick from that. Do you see that? Okay. So we probably don't want that. I think I would actually go into the rigid body of him and change the linear drag and put some on. Without linear drag, the objects just float about, so you really want to give some linear drag to the 2 characters in case you do have the kickback. That's better now, so he gets a bit of kickback where he isn't moving quite so much. The other thing you can do though is adjust the offset, which is what it was for. Okay, so if I click on the guy, go down to the offset and let's set it to 2 and run it again. Right, and when we shoot, that's better. There's no kickback at all, but it's actually firing too far forward now. So again, it's just experimentation. I would set it to, let's try 1.5. Okay, there you go. And you've got bullets now that are shooting using physics. Okay, and you can play about with that. If you want to give it more bullets, you can set that to 30. Run it again, and then suddenly we can shoot a lot more rapidly. Okay, so you can have fun with that. You should find the other guy can shoot as well. Let's just test that. Okay, so make sure you put his offset to minus as well on the yellow guy because he is shooting in the other direction. So make sure his offset is like minus 1.5. And we'll set his bullets to 10. Let's have some fun with him too. Okay, so yeah, so he can shoot now as well. They both can shoot. Okay, and that'll do for now. If you get that far, you'll be doing well. Save your scene, save your project. Make sure you don't try and save it while it's running. So save scene, save project, and I'll see you on my next video.